Okay, so let's look at 9-4 work together. All right, we're here. Let's see what they got us going. We have multiple transactions, right? And we kind of talked. We're working with the cash payments journal. You can see in the source documents there's multiple checks. There's also a memorandums. Keeping it pretty simple with a debit card or a credit card fee expense that they just took out of our account. There will be different ones that you will see. You might have a electronics funds transfer. Okay, you might have a service charge with a memorandum. So just be aware of that. Just because it's a memorandum doesn't mean it always goes in the general journal. It could be a cash payment as well. Okay. So some of these transactions are going to be done just like we always did. Debit the expense, credit the transaction. If you have any questions on what some of these expenses could be, okay, we have the chart of accounts here. All right, we might have a petty cash there where you remember you debit the expenses when we replenish. Cash short and over. If it's short, you'll debit it. If it's over, you credit it. So we're going to debit the cash short. So we kind of got some resources there. All right. So we're in page 10 of the cash payments journal. It's October that we're doing this. And we're using the checks as C as our source document or memorandum. So October 2nd, wrote a check to Bilton Communications. So we're just going to go through this. And we'll go October 2nd. And we're not going to write it. I got to do a period. We're going to call this, spell it right, utilities expense. Okay. And if you wanted to, you can go here because, you'd see there's no built-in communications expense. It's a utility expense. Sometimes telephone bill is cell phone bill, but in this case, it's utility expense for check number 521, and we are debiting the expense for 124, and we're crediting cash for 124. That kind of rings a bell from previous semester, right? Second one, wrote a check on account to Gray Manufacturing, okay, covering purchase invoice 532. Sorry, got a dyslexic on you there. 532. Now again, they're just referencing that so that you can understand that you're paying off a previous charge. In a mastery problem, they might say covering purchase invoice 532, and you got to go to the purchase and go look it up. They might not give you the number. You might have to go to your other journal and look it up. Now, with this, we have a 2% cash discount. Okay? So they don't tell us how much to take. So we're going to need a calculator. We're going to have to take 1,640. Okay, we need to figure out what our discount is. I gotta get it's gotta see some sun or it doesn't work. So this is our cash discount of $32.80. Right? This is our account payable bill that we owe. So then we subtract the $32.80. Okay? And what do you get? $1,607.20. Okay, and this would be that'd be the cash we're paying out, correct? Does doing that part, taking $1,640, multiplying by 02, okay, good. No one's there yet. To get your discount, subtract the discount, that's your cash credit, and we're paying off the debit. Is that okay? This is to who? Gray Manufacturing. You might have to put comma INC. Check number 522. Okay, there is nothing that we're doing in the general. We are paying off the bill we owe to Gray from our previous purchase order. So the debit is the big amount. That's our bill, right? We are taking advantage and we're saving $32.80 from paying because we paid and took advantage of a 2% discount. I got to zoom this in a little bit. Take advantage of the discount, so we get $32.80 here, and it's $1,607.20. Do you remember? We always will list the purchase discount. We will never list it when it's a trade discount, for whatever reason. Are you guys okay with this transaction? The debits of $1,640 is the bill. We're not paying all of it, but we have to show why we're not paying all of it. We're taking advantage of that discount. Transaction number 3, October 9th. Wrote a check to LPF Manufacturing for merchandise with a list price of $1,575. We have no trade discount. We have no purchases discount. This is just us buying merchandise. And if you're like LMF or LPF, if you look down here, they're one of our payables. Okay? But LPF, if you don't charge it, it's not in the purchase journal. You're just writing a check for merchandise. Whenever we write a check for merchandise, we are going to call it purchases, if you can spell it. Okay? Whenever we write a check for merchandise, it's going to be purchases. For $1,575. Some people, common mistake is writing LPF right here, but we're not paying off a bill, right? We're just paying them. Sometimes you go to the store and you just buy stuff. Okay. On the 12th, it says record the direct withdrawal of credit card fees from the bank account. All right, so we got a direct credit card fee paid out, which is fine. So it's on the 12th. What is our account number or name? We have a thing in this transaction called credit card fee expense. It's listed in our chart of accounts. So we will use the credit card fee expense as our account title. And it is a memorandum, and it's a little weird, but we just debit the expense for $64, and they took it directly out of our account. So they took our cash out of there without writing a check. It's like a withdrawal, like an automatic withdrawal or something. Is that okay? That makes sense? Next one, wrote a check on account to Westland Supply covering a purchase invoice for $426. No cash discount was offered, so we didn't take advantage of the 2% discount like we had before. All right, so what day was this? 16 Westland Supply, 426. So we got the 16. It is Westland Supply for 524. And we are paying off a bill. So you go to the accounts payable. Sometimes people are like, why do we use accounts payable? How do you know when to use this? And how do you know to use the debit? General. The accounts payable is when we pay off previous charges, right? when we pay off previous charges, we will take it off the bill that we owe. So we want accounts payable debit. It also will often tell you we wrote a check on account. So that means we had a payment, we charged something on account, now we're writing the check on account to cover a previous bill. 31st, record the petty cash fund. All right, so we have the 31st. Again, let's go up to the petty cash fund. They don't tell us much on it, right, in our transaction. Excuse me. But they provide the petty cash report. The petty cash report tells us we always want to reconcile and get the number back to the beginning balance. So we started with 200. So our goal is to get it back to 200. How do we do that? We have 3 different payments that we had out, so we're going to debit these expenses. Okay. Then down here, so that's going to be that much. If it was all equal, then that would be all we do. But the cash drawer is always off somehow. We are short $1.05. How do you know you're short? Because if it was over, it would be a negative number in parentheses here. We're supposed to have 4703. 200 minus 152.97. We actually, the actual amount on hand, we literally count the money, and we only have 45.98, so we're short $1.05. So we need to add that $1.05 to all our bills so that when we write a check, so if you were writing on this, I would put cash here, I would put expenses here, and I would put cash short, debit, overs credit here. So we need to write supplies, office, store, and miscellaneous. So those are our first things. Supplies, I think you got to put a dash. Supplies, office, I'm going to write them first. Supplies, store, and I don't know what, that's kind of how I would do this. And miscellaneous. And miscellaneous has got to be expense after. Okay. I would write those 3, but you guys can do it however you wish. I would put those numbers 4815 in the general debit, 4815, 5718, and the miscellaneous was 4764. Okay. I know this is the amount of the cash. This says amount to replenish is 154.02. So I'm writing that. We always put it in the first line when we do cash on this type of situations, right? You guys know why we got 154.02? I'm not going too fast. It's the amount that we're replenishing, right? You guys are okay with that? Okay. Well, remember, debit's got to equal credits. 154. If you add these 3 up, it's 152.97. We're short $1. And remember, when we said cash short and over is the account, right? And if you did a T account, cash short's always debit, cash over is on the right side, it's credited. So we know it's short because it's not negative, right? So it's on the left side. So we will put the words cash, short, and over. And we know we're over or short $1.05. Short $1.05. And we got that from up here, right? If it's not a negative, if it's just a number that we need to add to replenish, it's cash short and it's a debit. If we needed to subtract, it would be in parentheses, we would pay less and it would be a credit. These 3 debits, the 3 expenses, and if it's cash short, it's a debit, equal the cash credit. Okay? There is no line for totals because that's 9.5. Okay? Do they only have us doing that? No posting? All right. Do you guys have any questions on any of those bad boys? I wonder if the app makes you post. I cannot be for sure. I can't remember. Well, you guys got 20 minutes. You can do the app, and then I think we'll just call it good there. Okay.